AFEX, Nigeria's pioneer private commodities exchange, as part of its commitment to driving the Agric sector, hosted a discourse on cold cash crop. It brought together entrepreneurs, startups, and corporates in the Agric, finance, and tech space in the country. The CEO of AFEX Nigeria Commodities Exchange, Mr. Deji Balogun, in his brief remarks, shared the essence of the forum.
I think having an agenda for what we'll be doing about the next 2 years actually defeats the purpose of why we called this event. Now, the reason why we said there is a need for us to think together is to actually say what should we collectively, as an industry, as an emerging space, should be doing. What are the areas of synergy and overlap? What are the use cases that exist, but that we can also come up with? What are the solutions that will emerge when we know each other, understand what we all do, and try to collaborate and co-create?
Panelists at the event explored ways of collaboration that will nurture the competitiveness of the Nigerian agri-business sector.
Since the new government came in place about 3 years ago, the drive has been agriculture is the new oil. We need to diversify. We need to diversify our foreign exchange earnings. We need to diversify our revenue stream. Does that mean everybody needs to be a farmer? No. Does that mean everybody needs to go to buy land and invest heavily in agriculture? No. AFEX Commodities Exchanges in the industry to bridge the gap between smallholder farmers that are currently invested in agriculture and potentials like yourself and myself that are also interested in investing in agriculture without necessarily going to the farm.
The tech thing is a big part of what we are looking at. And we love companies like AFEX for that use the technology, it's not the beginning and the end, but it's a tool to enable the value chain to work. So we love that kind of companies. We love, and I'm sure my neighbor will give me more examples of tech solutions, but we love that kind of companies. It can scale up quickly. It's very replicable from one country to another one because it can adapt to local specificities. And for investors, it makes money. So we love that kind of company. Usually because it's very replicable and scalable, then it generates a lot of volume. You have a lot of customers, a lot of volume trades, for example, for AFEX. So it generates a lot of data. So for your question about what kind of companies we are looking at, most of the companies we are looking at are doing something with data. So it's data business. And we like that because we believe that the more data you get, the more knowledge you get on the value chain, and then you can bring transparency, but also trust. And once you have trust, then you have other players coming with you, other investors coming with you, and they believe, then the scale effect is working very well.
The work we have to do in farm crowding to reinvent the wheel and find partners like the likes of the Synergize or Notoris or the AFEX or the leadway assurance firms to take care of other parts of the value chain that will distract us from doing the core work of working with the farmer to grow his output, of working with the farmer to get the right market, of working with the farmer to increase his knowledge about how to increase his quantity and quality on his farm. Those were barriers that we faced earlier on. Speaking into barriers we're facing today, I call them barriers, or I call them challenges that if we surmount them, it gives us new level of opportunities. Reaching out to the farmers. Not all farmers have smartphones. In fact, you hardly see a farmer in Barikin Ladi in Plateau State with a smartphone, but they have mobile devices still. And so in creating solutions for those farmers, one is to understand how to best customize solutions we find in other parts of the world for the farmers we see in our country, in the local communities. So in that level of customization, a lot of investment goes into building our technology, investing more in our people, and getting smarter about reaching more farmers with less.
I'm really excited about what everyone is doing, but the last thing I wanted to say is that technology is interesting and in and of itself, and the fact that I'm a technology blogger probably will make this surprising to you, but I feel that there are critical infrastructural levers that need to be moved that don't really have anything to do with technology. We're talking about road transport systems. How do you get the the crops from the farm to the supply centers? How do you get them from the farm to the food processing centers? In Kenya, for instance, one of the reasons why that space has grown is because the underlying infrastructure is in place. They have not just the supply and demand side, they have great road infrastructure through East Africa. If you from Kigali to Kampala to Nairobi, the roads are great. They have a great transport network. Not only that, they have a train system, that carries cargo and stuff like that. And we need that to happen in not just Nigeria, but in West Africa, so that, you grow your tomatoes, you put them. The thing about poultry getting bad on the road because the roads are bad makes no sense, because the railways are probably a better, transport mechanism for that sort of thing. If you want your product, from place to place safer. So really, it's that infrastructure component that we really need to invest in, and then it's on top of that we we layer the tech, and what is going to allow us to exponentially grow the sector. But first of all, the foundation needs to be sound.
The Code Cash Crop featured breakout sessions that discussed pragmatic steps to driving a viable Agric sector that can attract key investments. Dr. Deji Balogun and some of the key stakeholders in attendance speak further on the prospect of Code Cash Crop initiative.
The Code Cash Crop is for us a discussion starter, and it's for us to kind of try to understand or set the pace for discussion around what happens when there's a convergence and co-creation and co-thinking between players in finance, technology, and agriculture. And we think these three sectors are critical, and solutions have to be co-created for optimal results. If we really want to take agriculture in Nigeria from the subsistence level where it is and really drive and scale it to catch up and position Nigeria not just a food sufficient country, but actually a dominant player in the region and beyond, there has to be co-creation and collaboration across these three sectors. You need finance to create a nice leverage and the right type of investments that can position agriculture and operate profitably. Now, considering that a lot of farms currently are very rural and very fragmented, it means that it's not easy for financiers to get to farms and reach out to farmers on a case-by-case. The transaction cost increases very fast. So that's a use case for technology to say, how can we reduce the costs by creating the intermediation mechanisms? What are structures, what are solutions that can connect financing to farmers? And then we as AFEX Commodities Exchange are being a marketplace for investors, but primarily for users and sellers of agricultural commodities. We are there to create securitization solutions around agriculture and farming, such that they are investable, bankable, and then you have new asset classes that are opened up, and technology then creates a distribution channel for financing to then meet agriculture. That's what we see, and we think co-creation, Code Cash Crop creates a platform, a partnership with partners like Co-Creation Hub, Dalberg, NICEL, and others that work together, will help nurture that discussion, track it, and help forge it forward for us to be able to achieve the future that we see.
First, I'll commend the organizers that put this together. It's been fantastic having major stakeholders in the agriculture space, from startups to investors to financial houses to agro partners, come together in one room to discuss the problems we're facing. It's been really thrilling for us as a business to be part of this. The opportunity of networking and sharing our problems, understanding someone else that's solving maybe a problem that you didn't know someone else was solving in the agri space. It's one of the best things we've had to take away from here. We've made a lot of relationships. I mean, I came with my team, and we've made a lot of relationships, and we're hoping that we take some of these learnings we've gotten here from also the panel sessions and the different groups, with the group breakouts we had, and eventually grow our businesses and have more impact on the other people in the sector. Hopefully, if these kind of events keep happening, more youths and more enterprising minds will look at the agriculture space as another place that they can play in and then create not just impact, not just return, but have impact in people's lives. So yes, I look forward to more of this happening.
We think that this is actually the future. This is the way to go. Agriculture before now has had a perception of being for the older generation. But we think that to make it attractive to the newer generation, it's important to bring technology. And what this does is for technology to meet with agriculture. But I would flip it the other way around. I'll say agriculture actually meets technology. Because agriculture is the bane, technology is the enhancer. So technology comes to meet with agriculture and then enhance the process. And at the end of the day, what this means is that if agriculture really is a focus, like we all say, as people and as a government, then we can bring in more younger people like you and I into this business, and it makes a lot of sense that way.
There's so many things going on in silos. I think we need to get people talking a lot more about collaboration. Sometimes someone is doing something that you're doing, perhaps better. There's an opportunity for synergies, but if we're not talking to each other, which is what happened here today, and I think that was really great. If we're not talking together, or talking to each other rather, we're not recognizing the opportunities for synergy. And then we're doing things in silos, but there's such a greater opportunity for impact if we talk together and collaborate on these things.
And finally, in terms of policy, what would you like to see as policy initiatives that will drive more activities and investment even to agri-space?
Definitely policies that do not end up short-circuiting some of the ongoing conversations in the technology space or in the agriculture space, and more stability. So if someone begins something today, they're confident that they can continue in that vein without being surprised by policy in a year, or when power changes hands in a year or two, just stability, and then more interaction between the policymakers and the people in the space.
The role of AFEX in the whole of this is to ensure that investors' capital are safeguarded. There's a lack of fund in the Agric industry, but yet there are also a lot of players out there that claim to be putting funds there, but they are just scamming the public. AFEX Commodities Exchange is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. As such, we have a regulatory obligation to investors in agriculture through the exchange. So this program is the first step in bringing investors to realizing that they can leverage on technology to invest in agriculture and have the peace of mind that their funds is not being taken away from them by fraudulent individuals. There's a structured market there that they can finance and benefit from in the current Nigeria we're in.
Nigeria's agric sector is now described as a lead frontier for economic diversification, a robust synergy and policy direction that promotes innovation, financing, tech-enabled solutions, and opportunities for the smallholder farmers is the way forward for the sustainable development of the agro sector.